Hello and welcome to my mini self-massage mastery class. I am so excited to be here and share my passion with the world. Um, a little bit about myself and who I am and what I'm doing here. So my name is Amy Louise. I've been a massage therapist for coming up for 14 years, and I absolutely adore my job. I'm not just a regular massage therapist. I like to look at your whole well-being, because everything that we do, everything that we speak and say has an effect on our physical body. Whether you're aware of it or not, everything impacts our physical body, our emotions, what we choose to eat, what we choose to say out loud, what we think about ourselves, and I see it so often with my clients that they go to the gym and exercise and they roll out their bodies, but they still have issues going on that is affecting their sleep, is affecting the way they function on a day-to-day basis. We're not going to go too deep, too heavy in the session today. I do have a little something up my sleeve that I want to share with you a little bit later on, because I'm currently creating a program that will lead you into steps of cultivating a relationship with your physical body, with your energetic body, with your emotional body. And today I want to introduce you to some of the key points that I like to share with my clients when I have a client on the table. So originally, when I first studied, massage wasn't even something that I felt I was aware of. I had planned on doing something different. And in my third year, it just so happened to take me down the road of spa and complementary therapies. And during that time, I lost my nana quite suddenly, and two of my friends on the same course lost people close to them as well. And we ended up kind of coming together at college. And this is where I really started to fall in love with massage and understand what it could do for me whilst I was going through this area of my life when I was experiencing grief on a really deep level for the first time. I then I just fell in love with how it made me feel, and that I was able to be aware of what I was holding in my body. I'd been doing yoga since about the age of 13, so I was continuously moving my body. I used to be a gymnast when I was younger, and due to injury, I wasn't allowed to do gymnastics anymore. So I then found yoga instead. I was also going to the gym really regularly, and I started to notice that my body was changing, and I was starting to, from going to the gym so much, I was starting to kind of like hunch through my back. So I really wanted to learn how to be conscious of the way that I was moving so I could keep a broader shoulder, so that I could keep an upright position, because I knew there was something not quite right. There was a couple of other issues that I had within my body as well that were all due to my posture. So through learning and speaking with other people like physios, chiropractors, osteos, acupuncturists, I really started this journey of becoming aware of my body. And then moving to New Zealand and doing my Reiki, I learned so much more about how I was holding on to emotion in my body, how I was holding on to other people's emotion, other people's pain. I was learning so much about the clairsenses, and basically it molded me to who I am today and how I choose to live my life. Now, body awareness for me has been something that has been integrated since a young age. So it is so normal for me, and it baffles me that other people don't understand their bodies or don't know where they're moving in space, don't know how they hold themselves. And I've noticed over the years with my clients that, you know, one of the things that I really want to and have done in the past is educate my clients on actually how to heal the bodies and be able to be pain-free, be able to actually heal any injuries that they may have occurred, or understand the way the emotional energy gets stuck in the body, and acknowledging that, how we speak to our bodies. There's just so many different elements that actually come into how we hold ourselves and how we move in our bodies on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes, like, if you're experiencing chronic pain, you learn to live with it, and it just kind of becomes a part of your everyday, and you stop wondering or questioning how it is that the root cause arrived in your body to create that chronic pain. Yes, it could have been induced by an accident, but it's like, have you ever thought about what was happening at that time in your life around that accident? What was going on there for you to create that stagnancy within the body to then create that chronic pain? And because we learn to live with it, we get on with it, and then we kind of forget that we don't have it we can change it, and we can release whatever it is that's there. So we are just going to go through some of the more basic elements today, but I want you to really start to think about, how do you talk to your body on a daily basis? When you look at yourself in the mirror, do you actually see yourself? Do you acknowledge yourself? Or are you just in a mundane routine of doing the same thing, and you just kind of get on with it? You throw some clothes on, you feel good because you've got nice clothes on. But when was the last time you actually just stood and looked at your body and appreciated it for exactly how it is? That is something that I wish the world could do, could just look at themselves and just be like, I am so grateful for my hands. I'm so grateful for my feet. I'm so grateful for my whole body, inside and outside. I remember one time I was doing an EAP course, so it was an enhanced awareness course. And one of the questions was, how much do you acknowledge about your body? Like, when you look in the mirror, what do you see? And I repeated only the external of what I was physically seeing in the mirror. But it's just like, in that moment, I was reminded that when you look in the mirror, yes, you see your external, but that is also an invitation to acknowledge your internal world as well. Your heart, your lungs, your stomach. The list goes on. Everything that is inside the body that is like making you who you are and working the way you're working today, whether you know about it or not. Our conscious mind is what is, I'm consciously speaking, trying to, I'm consciously moving my hair, I'm consciously moving my top. The subconscious mind is something that's happening within the body that we don't have to navigate. I am subconsciously, my heart is beating. Subconsciously, my blood is being pumped around my body. The one thing that connects both and can be and is subconscious and can be made conscious is the breath. When we breathe, we don't have to think about breathing. We just naturally do it because it's a subconscious action of the body. But what we can do is we can consciously change the breath and control the breath. So that is something that links the conscious and the subconscious together. We do use a little bit of breath today when we are doing self-massage, because it just helps you to come in to the present moment and be really aware of what you're doing in that moment. Now, when we start doing these practices and when we start integrating them into our everyday life, it does take practice. And my invitation for you after this workshop is, if you choose to go and do some myofascial release, we'll talk about what that is in a moment, then I want you to be so conscious and present whilst you're doing it and understanding the messages that you're receiving from your body. And when I say understanding that, you don't have to depict it into a meaning, but it is a felt sense sensation. So a lot of the time I hear no pain, no gain. And that is something that I have to very highly disagree with. Especially if you've been one of my clients, you will be aware of this is how I work. And if you haven't been one of my clients, bear with me for a moment. So when people come to me and say no pain, no gain, I like to politely say, if that's what you're looking for, please find another therapist. I can help educate you on how your body moves, how your body compensates, and where the pain can actually be coming out from, but where the source of it is stemming from. Where we feel pain in the body isn't necessarily the space in which I need to be working for you. When you are laying on my table as one of my clients, and when you are on your yoga mat as one of my clients, when we're doing one-on-one myofascial release, yes, you will feel sensation. I invite you to connect in with your breath, and every exhale, I invite you to learn and to rest and relax your body. So then the muscle, if I'm working on you, I can get deeper into, if you're doing myofascial release, you can get deeper into when you allow the body to relax. Yes, there will be sensation, but if it is painful and your body starts to react by contracting, then there is no point in continuing in that space. If you are in pain, your body usually goes into what we call fight or flight. So you're short of breath, because if you gasp from being in pain, the body automatically goes into that sympathetic nervous system. And what we want to create is that safe space and the trust, so your body is able to go into the parasympathetic nervous system, and it is allowed to relax, it is allowed to feel safe, and it is allowed to let go. In that space, we can really start to work on healing the body, healing the emotional body, healing the energetical body as well. So what we're going to start with today is really simple facial massage. Okay, so a lot of us don't even think about massaging our face because we're like, we don't hold any tension there. If you get headaches, if you have any neck pain, any jaw pain, or sometimes like we get pain just here if we're stressed, or if we like grit our teeth, it's really nice to open up all through the face and then also through the neck as well. So what I'll invite you to do is just make a comfortable space, and I'll show you a little tool that I do use. You don't have to use these if you don't have one. I do recommend getting one because they are absolutely beautiful. And you can also use, to bring this one down, you can also use crystals, which is something I do very regularly. So this is what we call a gua sha. So they come in different shapes, sizes, stones, and it kind of depends on anything that you choose that you want to use. Again, you don't have to use these. I'll show you with and without. I also use one of my favorite crystals. So it's just a really smooth crystal with a smooth edge on it as well. You can just use your hands. So it doesn't matter whatever you decide to use. So if you grab some oil, I've always got my frankincense, rosehip, and coconut in my roller. So you can place it on your hands, or if you use your roller just for you, you can place it directly on the face. So there's no special way to apply it. You can apply it any which way. So firstly, just using the hands for a little bit of lymphatic drainage. So if you do, especially with the change of seasons, if you start to get a little bit of congestion, it's really nice to work out from the middle of the face. And you can use this technique while you are applying any face creams or moisturizers, or facial oils as well. It's really nice if you do have a really nice facial oil. If you're in Wanaka, New Zealand, let me know and I'll send you to one of my beautiful friends who has very beautiful products. I have the facial oils, and when I go back to New Zealand, I'm definitely going to have to stock up. But yeah, it's really nice if you do use a facial oil to just give yourself a little massage, and you can do this every day if you want to. There's no that you can't do too much of this. So a little lymphatic drainage to begin with. So when you're working with your lymphatic, you always want to be working towards your ears and then down through the neck, because you've got your lymph nodes just here, and then you can move it down towards your armpits as well. So one of my favorite moves is coming up through the brow. I'm using my middle fingers and like pushing upwards. And then I take my ring finger and then drag away from the center towards the temples. So I do this a few times. So just up through the center using the middle finger, and then bringing in the ring finger to then stretch across the forehead coming out. I like to do it 3 times, and you can play around with your pressure as well. And then coming down through the nose, again, I'm using my middle finger and then bringing in the ring finger to draw out underneath the eye. And again, I'm heading towards the temple more than anything right now. Around the eyes especially, you don't want to be like too high up. You kind of want to go around this bone around the orbital of the eye. And then you can start to kind of like come down towards each side of the nose. See, my skin's going a little bit red. That's a good thing, because what we're doing is we're bringing the blood to the surface of the skin. So if you are using a product, it's really nice to do this, because what's happening is the blood's coming to the top of the skin. So if you've ever had a facial, there's always a little bit of massage and a bit of stimulation in the face. And what that does is it brings the blood to the surface of the skin, grabs the product, and then takes it deeper into the layers of the skin as well. So that's why I always say to use a lighter oil on the face, because you can get a little bit too congested if it is a heavier oil. And then you can start to like draw down through the top of the jawline. So you'll be able to feel the jawline just here. And you kind of like using, again, the middle finger and the forefinger to press up into the jawline. So we're still kind of focusing on the lymphatic just here. So what you'll notice, if you exhale through your nose as you wipe, you're drawing more of the fluid out towards the ears. And then coming from the corners of the mouth and up towards the temples again. So with this, you're also working up and away, which will help increase the plumpness of your skin. We're also increasing collagen renewal as well in the body. And then coming to the jawline. I said jawline up there. Sorry, I meant cheekbone. I do know my anatomy and physiology, just mine decided to go somewhere else. So now coming onto your jawline. So you can either use your middle finger and forefinger, or you can come into use your knuckles and then glide across through the jawline just there. So you can go with quite a bit of pressure here. And this, if you do have a gua sha, this is what you can do here as well, using the bubble edge and then working up the jawline towards the ear. And you can also use your gua sha, so you can use whichever side you want to for whatever kind of sensation and what it is that you're working towards. So you could also use the gua sha like underneath the eye and then up and around the brow. Or if you've got, oops, if you've got your crystal, you can also use your crystal the same way, like around the eye. So that's the thing, and through the cheekbone, not the jaw. And then also underneath here as well. So again, you can use your fingers around the jawline. It's really nice to get a little bit of pressure in here. It feels so good. And then when you've done that around the face, you can do it for as long as feels comfortable for you. And then I invite you to just start to draw a wide hand. So you want to use like all of your, like 3 of your fingers or all of them. And this wide part just here. So what I'm doing is now, because I've started moving the lymph towards the back of the ear, now flushing it down the neck towards the armpit. So again, playing with the pressure that you want to use here. It just feels so nice, just allowing that long flow of using both hands down the neck. And then you can come down the front, less pressure as you're coming down the front, because it can make you feel a little bit icky. And then coming around to the back of the neck. So if you're getting any stiff tension through here, one of my favorites is taking my opposite hand. So right now I've got my right hand coming over to my left shoulder. Okay. And I bring my shoulder towards my ear, and then you can see the trapezius muscle just here. So what you can do is actually pinch that muscle, let your shoulder drop. That might be enough for you right there. But if you want a little bit more, as you inhale, you hold, and then as you exhale, you start to draw. So I'm now drawing my right ear down towards my right shoulder. Now, it depends on your grip here. You can either be holding the muscle like this, or you can press 2 fingers down. So where I'm holding here, like I'm finding the top of that trapezius muscle. This is where a lot of people get a bit of tension. And you can kind of feel there's a little knot just before you get to where the collarbone meets. So you can press down on this space, inhale, and then as you exhale, start to draw the chin, the ear towards the shoulder, and then you can start to drop the chin down as well. So this is called a pin stretch. And if you really gently move your head from side to side, you'll start to notice you're feeling sensation all through here. And what this is doing is it's helping to release the fascia and the muscle from each other. So it's bringing in a little bit. So you imagine like stretching out an elastic band and twisting it, and it's like slowly undoing it. And again, if the skin goes red, that's a good thing, because we're getting the blood flow to the top of the layers of the skin. And then you can kind of like bring the fingers down like through the collarbone as well. That can feel a little bit cringy sometimes, but just kind of feeling around and noticing how it feels for you. If you do start to feel sick, then please stop doing it. But it can, especially like if you find another spot, and then you can try the movement with the head again. This is all about an invitation to explore your body and notice how your body's feeling. Because right now, what I'm doing is I'm creating a connection with my physical body. And I want to do it on the other side as well. So again, it's going to be different on both sides of the body. So again, if I want to do the pin grip, so I draw my shoulder towards my ear, pinch with my thumb and my forefinger, and then drop the shoulder. Now it feels completely different on this side. And then I'm going to do the pin stretch again. So I'm going to take my middle finger and my forefinger, and I'm going to find, again, that point where the trapezius comes down, and then just before the collarbones meet, I'm going to apply some pressure and take a deep breath in. And then on my exhale, draw my ear towards my shoulder, and then just start to really slowly move the head. So I'm noticing now the sensation in my neck is a lot different to what it was on the other side. So right now I'm getting more of a sharper pain or sensation. It's not painful because I'm okay to stay here, and it's dissipating with my breath. So the difference between the pain and the discomfort will dissipate as you exhale. Pain will continue. So if you are in pain, please stop what you're doing, and come back to your breath. And if you feel comfortable, just start palpating the area. So just start rubbing the area, maybe bring some heat in as well. But if you can hold the space, and as you breathe, it starts to dissipate, then you can continue working on the area. If it is too painful at any point, just flick me a message, and I'm happy to talk to you about it and go over some of other moves that you might be able to do as well. So taking both of your hands and bringing the fingertips to the back of the neck. And this is one where I really like to draw my fingertips from the occipital, so where the flat bone of your head is, and then either side of your neck, your vertebrae in your neck, and then like dragging down. I always find this is really, really nice just to help release some pressure through the neck. And while you're doing this, and just notice how the body feels, and you just kind of start to notice that you are drawn to go back to certain areas. So like for me, whenever I do this part, I'm always drawn to come back here and then move my head whilst placing pressure on that area. And one of the reasons, it just feels really nice. And it makes me feel more as though I can open my shoulders a lot more. And it's going to be different for everyone. Like we're all going to have different areas that feel better or different areas that don't. I then like to come through underneath the collarbone here as well. So a lot of time when we have this, when we have tension just here, a lot of the time our rib cage is quite tight as well. So when our rib cage is quite tight, we're not expanding fully with the breath. So one of my favorite things to do is to actually release through my diaphragm and release through my whole rib cage, because then I feel like I can breathe so much bigger and take in more, and then also release more as well. And it just makes me feel so good when I'm able to take that deep breath. So with diaphragm release, when you're doing it on yourself, it's really good to like find where your diaphragm is to begin with, and you can just start to palpate with your fingers. And when we are working with our diaphragm, I work with mine, I probably massage it every other day. and then I get on my ball as well. So with the diaphragm, just kind of following the lower rib cage. And it can feel really uncomfortable. It can feel not the best. And if you've just eaten, I don't recommend doing this right now. But what you want to try and do is like come up underneath your rib cage. So it might feel really strange and really uncomfortable, and that's okay. That is normal for you to experience that when you first start massaging underneath your diaphragm. But what we're aiming for is for you to be able to get your fingertips underneath your rib cage and breathe into that as well. So one of my favorites, I'm a lot tighter on my right side under my diaphragm. So I hold where I feel the tight, and then I take a deep breath. And then as I exhale, I curl forward. So when I'm breathing into my diaphragm. So I'm expanding through here. So where I'm holding, I'm still holding the point. And then when I exhale, I'm going a lot deeper into that space, and rolling forward is just allowing that tissue to start to open. Now, this is where tennis balls can come in really handy, or if you have a bigger ball, so you can use Pilates balls. One of my lovely clients in New Zealand, Lauren Roxburgh, has her own brand, and I will drop the link to her center ball, her version of her center ball, if you are wanting to buy something, because like these things are incredible. And she's got so many beautiful myofascial release toys that you can use, and then and how to use them as well. So with a tennis ball, if you want to do your diaphragm, what you can do is hold the ball and in a flat palm, and then place it in the diaphragm. So like I've got this right underneath my rib cage, and then the same thing as you would with your fingers. So breathing into the ball, and then as you exhale, just folding in a little bit, and then you can move down and do the next area the same way. So again, it can feel a little bit uncomfortable, and you want to spend like a few minutes on either side doing this one as well. And then, like I say, what that does when you've got that freedom in your diaphragm to be able to expand and open up through your rib cage, you feel like you can breathe a lot lighter, and it takes the pressure off the neck. When we're breathing into our chest, so when we breathe like this, you're using these muscles to lift your rib cage. But when you breathe into your diaphragm, nothing happens up here because everything's happening in the rib cage and expanding outwards. So then these muscles can stay relaxed when you breathe. So with the rib cage as well, what you can do is just get your thumb and just feel and dig into in between the ribs, and move the skin away from the body as well. I do this quite regularly, so my skin moves really easily. You might not notice, or it might feel quite sensitive or painful. What you can do is work over to finding the armpit, and then coming down into the pec. And when you're in the pec, holding that, and then drawing the arm away and around. So that is just helping to open up the tissue through the arm, which again can take pressure away from the neck muscles as well. Another one of my favorite stretches is holding the hand up against the wall, turning the fingertips away from you. And already I've not got my hand up against a wall, but I can feel that. And then really gently twisting the body away from the wall. And that's just going to help release nerves and fascia all down the arm. So doing that on both sides. You don't have to use a wall if it is enough, and you can keep your hand, but a wall just makes it a lot easier to move the body. there's so much more that I could talk about. I could go through the whole body right now, but we would be here for a few hours. So another thing that I wanted to touch in on today was how you talk to your body. Now, this is something, again, I have experienced the majority of my life is understanding how it is that I actually speak to my body, and I notice the difference in my body when I am feeling like absolute rubbish and I am not being very kind to my body. I feel lethargic and not great. But the days when I wake up and I'm like, wow, my body's amazing. I feel incredible. I am confident, and and it shows because people comment on it as well. So I'm no stranger to beating myself up and negative self-talk. And it's something that I definitely catch myself doing now. And it is something that I realize there are so many of us out there. The way we talk to our bodies, or ourselves, when we look in the mirror, we seem to be disappointed in our bodies and disappointed in ourselves for, how we turned out. And it's like, one day you look in the mirror and you're just like, oh, what happened? You look back on photos and you're like, oh, I wish I looked like that again. But if you remember at that time, you didn't like how you looked and you were looking back on older photos saying you wish you looked like that again. I know you're agreeing right now because we've all been there. And what I want to invite you to do is start to acknowledge your body for everything that it does for you. And you can do that in any which way that feels comfortable. If you want to write a list down, write a list down. If you want to speak it out, speak it out. Like, find something that resonates with you to be able to acknowledge and connect with your body, where you're actually being kind to yourself. And a lot of the time I find myself saying to my clients, like, would you say that to your best friend? And every single time the answer is, I would never say anything like that to my best friend. And it's just like, okay, so why are you saying it to yourself right now? So I don't know if, like, it stems from so many different places as to why we don't like ourselves. But what if we did like ourselves? And like, other people like themselves, so why can't I like myself? And I've been toying with this idea of conversations with self, and it's something that I want to integrate. And I realized that it's something to integrate into the massage masterclass, because yes, self massage is incredible, and it's amazing, like massaging your own arm. But anyone can just rub their face, anyone can just massage their arm. What I want to help you create is a deeper connection with your body. So when you're massaging your arm, you're also being grateful for your arm and thanking your arm and just being like, I'm massaging you because I'm so grateful for everything that you do for me. I want you to really look at your body when you're massaging your body, whether that means sitting in front of a mirror or just choosing a part of you. So choosing your feet, for example, that you're just going to spend 5 minutes massaging your foot. And with technique, it doesn't really matter what technique you're using. You could be using a crystal, you could just be using your hands, you could be using a ball, rolling the ball on the foot. But what it is that I want you to practice is the acknowledgement of your body. So like, your feet hold you up every single day. If you are able to walk, then you know, it's like you do it so unconsciously. We just take it for granted. We take our bodies for granted so much. And I want you to be able to look at your feet and just give them 5 minutes a day of thank you. Thank you very much for holding me. Thank you for helping me balance, helping me walk, and, you know, just really acknowledging what it is that your body's doing for you on a day-to-day basis. Like choosing, like thanking your shins for supporting your knees and supporting your hips. You know, it's all joined together. You, if you don't have one, you know, it restricts you in so many ways. And if you don't have a limb, like sometimes people who have lost limbs still have phantom limbs, or sometimes, you know, I've met women and men who have lost limbs and they are just so grateful for their bodies and so grateful for what they can do since losing the limb, and like the strength that they have in their hearts, but also in their physical bodies, is absolutely beautiful to see. And it really does like make you realize like how grateful you are if you have a full working human body. And yeah, I mean, I can talk about how much I love the body all day, and I won't bore you with that, but I really do invite you to, you know, look in the mirror and look at your body and notice what your mind is saying. Notice what words come up for you. And if they are of the negative outlook, where did that come from? Why do you believe that about yourself? Like, I really want to get you thinking about how it is that you move and how it is that you speak to yourself. Now, a lot of resistance comes up when we first start doing this. And resistance is one of the key things that we want to learn to work with. So resistance can show up in ways of just not wanting to do something. It can come up in ways of, you know, like you start looking at yourself in the mirror and you start to feel emotional. And because your emotion starts to arise and it feels uncomfortable, the resistance then comes up and you're like, no, I don't want to do this. And that's okay. Resistance is part of the journey. And one of the ways to work through this resistance is to just start with teeny tiny baby steps. You know, it's uncomfortable going through change, and it's uncomfortable admitting and acknowledging some of the ways that you talk to yourself. But once you get through that, once you actually really start to see yourself, not just look at yourself, but really see yourself and feel on a level that your body understands, everything starts shifting. Your outlook on life starts shifting. And it is just such a beautiful journey to fall in love with yourself. And it's not a straight road. It's not going to be, oh, I'm going to do this course. I'm going to learn how to like massage my body, and I'm going to say 10 affirmations a day, and I'm going to be so in love with myself. Like, yes, that's what we want. It sounds ideal, but it does take work. It takes practice. It takes commitment to yourself to be able to walk this path and really be with yourself. And, you know, a lot of what I teach and what I talk about, like, you know, as a massage therapist going through my career, I've been so stern on massage is massage. It's got nothing to do with sex. And I still stand by that. Everything that I teach throughout this massage mastery. So my idea is that I'm putting together the program at the moment. So it is a step-by-step guide into creating that deeper connection with your body. And it is creating the framework of, you know, the structure of how we can really create that deep and meaningful connection with ourselves and touch ourselves and love our bodies so much. And it can be sensual, it can be pleasurable. And it's when you're doing the work on yourself that's where it is the sensual. And I want it to be pleasurable for you. Like, I want you to enjoy touching your body and enjoy massaging your body, enjoy like being aware of your body and looking at your body and playing and being, you know, so full of life within yourself, to be able to, and you just take that naturally out into the world and you just feel so much more confident in your body. And it's just like, you know, when you have a really good shower, you know, when you just feel so incredible after a shower, imagine self-massage after your shower that already felt amazing. You're covering yourself with essential oils, you smell amazing, you feel amazing. And on top of that, you've been telling yourself how much you love your body, how grateful you are for your body. Like, the feeling of that is just, and then you walk out in the street and you've got your head held high and everyone's just like, I don't know what she's having. And it is literally because you are falling in love with yourself and you just want everyone to feel as amazing as you do. And, you know, it really is just such a beautiful journey of falling in love with yourself and being, yeah, being really grounded and connected with your body. And everyone can do this. There's no special person, or, you know, there's no like test. It is literally a commitment to yourself and a commitment to regaining your power within you. And you create everything that you see in your reality. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of your body. And this is what I am here to remind you, through really simple ways of getting to know how you move in space, acknowledging your body, massaging your body, and the way you speak to yourself. Um, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I will be sharing more and more over the coming weeks, and I'm just getting so excited about sharing this journey with you. And I am going to be running a beta test, so we'll be looking for 6 women to join me for a very heavily discounted program before Christmas. So there will be more about that coming out very shortly. And if you are interested, please do get in touch. It is going to be such a fun little experiment, because it's going to really also help me kind of hone in on exactly how I want it to be run. There's just so much that I want to share with you, and yeah, just helping me to navigate how it's all going to come out and how it's going to come across. So yeah, it's 6 women, and it'll be a really, as the idea is that it's a small container, so it's really intimate, so we can really get to know our bodies, and you know, we can talk about it, because we don't realize how other people are going through very similar things at the same time as us. And I find that when you have that community of like-minded women in a container, the trust is already there, and then the growth that you share with each other and the confidence and the ability to really be free in who you are shines out. So I'm really excited to host that. So I'll show you another couple of my favorite self-massage. So as you know, massage therapist, I always massaging my arms. And this is something that not many people think about massaging your arms, but they can definitely have, like if you've got tight arms, it has an effect on your shoulders, your neck, your chest. And I see a lot of it when people come in and they have pain here, and then I start working on their arms and they're like, what are you doing? And it's like, why are my arms so tight? But we take our arms and our hands for granted. So one of my favorites you can do on yourself. It is really nice for someone else to do it for you as well, or again, using a prop. So you could use your crystal as well if you wanted a little bit more pressure. So basically what you do is you have your arm in front of you. You can relax it down. I'm just bringing it up here just to show you because it's a bit easier. And then you take your thumb, you place your thumb in between the two bones in your arms. Okay. And as you inhale, you open your hand. And as you exhale, you curl your fingers in and then drop your fist down to the ground. So this is creating another pin stretch. And then moving up, same thing. As you inhale, opening the hand. And as you exhale, curling the hand in, drawing the fist down to the ground. And as you're doing that, you're applying quite a bit of pressure with the other hand. If it's too much for the other hand, bring in a prop of some sort. This is where you want kind of something, a soft round edge. You don't want anything sharp because then it can be quite painful. So again, and then you work all the way up to your elbow. So you don't want to be on the bone. You want to stay in that soft spot. So this soft spot just here is a really, really great trigger point. And when you're holding this spot, if you also hold, and then you can twirl the wrist, open the hand, and you'll just notice all the different sensations that you're kind of feeling. And then you can do the same thing on the inner arm as well. So finding in between, and this time, so you'll press down as you bring your fist towards you, and then as you open your hand, that's where you're feeling the stretch. So it's just the opposite. So it's the inhale and the exhale. So it's just the complete opposite to what you're doing when you're on top of the forearm. And then coming up into the bicep tricep area. So if you're again coming onto the outside of the arm, so up from the elbow, about 3 fingers up, you'll start to feel an attachment just there. So just really small circles, and then following that line around there. So you'll find some points that are quite interesting. And when you do find those points, you can just hold them and just take a few deep breaths. Or again, movement through the arm. So our trigger points are different on each and every one of us. We have primary and secondary trigger points. So our primary trigger points are the main ones, and the secondary ones are usually built up over time when the muscle becomes tight, and it creates the secondary through another area. So you don't need to worry too much about whether it's a primary or secondary, but what it would be is you'd feel the sensation on one of the points, and then again, an invitation to take some deep breaths as you're holding the point, and as you exhale, the space and the sensation dissipates. You might start to feel a sensation move somewhere else in the body as well. And that is a really great thing to look out for. Like if we're feeling just in that one space, it can indicate a secondary. And if you're feeling it move, it indicates a primary. Yeah, so just holding those spaces, and it's a form of exploration. So I can give you these points that are gonna help, but then also just like noticing what feels good for yourself as well. I'm not actually using any oil at the moment. If I was to use an oil, I'd use the tiniest little bit. You don't need too much. This is something that I also do. Every time I get out the shower, I use an oil, and I just spend that little extra time on my hands and my arms because of my work. So this is also a really nice one. So this is like just a squeeze of the arm as I'm moving up. So again, it's however much pressure feels good for you to use in your hands. And then also using the outer edge of the thumb. If you've got really tight forearms and you feel like you can't really move the skin, that's a really great way of just starting to warm up the area as well. And you can apply this technique to any part of your body. Doesn't have to just be your arms. So it's becoming quite red just there. So we're really getting the circulation going, which is great. I'm doing it on both sides as well. My body, whenever I'm having a treatment, the other side of my body starts to get jealous. It's a strange sensation, but I know some of you know exactly what I mean. And then a simple squeeze of the arms up here. And again, it is acknowledgement of the body as you're doing it as well. You know, anyone can just kind of like rub the body. But when you're doing the self massage, it's dedicating that time and your awareness and being present with what you're doing at the time, which makes such a huge difference to, you know, just slapping on a bit of moisturizer because you're in a rush after the shower. For this, you know, I know a lot of people are worried about time, and it's like, I've not got time to moisturize after the shower because I've got this, and this to do. Just start by doing it once a week. If you start to dedicate just maybe 20 minutes of your week to have this space, and, you know, if you've got kids and a partner, tell your partner that you're going to have a shower and 20 minutes after, just don't, you know, don't talk to you. Try and book it out if you can. I used to do Sunday sessions where I would have a few hours of just self-pampering, and I've got out of the habit of doing that, and I've definitely noticed that I've got out of the habit of doing it. I do have the luxury of the time to massage after every shower, so, or before bed. So I am really grateful because I create that space for myself, and I'm able to create that space for myself. But like I say, even if it's just 5 minutes at the end of your day and you're acknowledging your feet by giving yourself a little foot massage and rub, just starting with that, you will start to notice a difference in the way you move, in the way you feel about your body, in the way that you connect with your body, in the way that you speak to your body. Just taking that few extra moments when you go to the bathroom and looking in the mirror as you're washing your hands, just being really present, and actually, like, you know, if you've got moisturizer hand cream in the bathroom, or you're in a public restroom and they've got hand cream, even in that moment, choose to use it. Spend an extra minute in there and massage the hands with the hand cream. You know, I know I said today not to bring moisturizer, but just use the oil. But it's still, and the reason why I say about using oil instead of moisturizer to massage with is just because it creates that nicer glide and slip. And it makes you spend a little bit more time on that area as well when you are using an oil. Whereas when you use a moisturizer, you kind of like put it on the skin and then it goes straight in. So you're not really actually massaging the space. So if you use an oil, then you've got that slip. So then you've got that continuous movement of it. Like I say, I don't use that much oil on my arms. I probably use more oil on my face to create more of a slip, but on my legs. but just kind of, yeah, it's about being present with your body, and as you're massaging, just, you know, notice what's happening as well. But going back to the hand cream and the toilets, you know, that's just a moment to take advantage of an extra minute of just moisturizing your hands after you've been to the bathroom, and just taking that moment just to be like, thank you hands, for everything that you do for me. And you know, when you're massaging into your hands, just using your thumb to get in between the bones there is so simple, but it just feels so amazing. And again, the pressure is up to you on how much you use. A lot of people say to me about my hands getting tired when I massage, and I've been doing it for a long time, so no, they don't. And yes, you may experience that your hands get tired, like if you're doing something like this. And that's why I invite you to source out a crystal, because then it's actually the crystal that's doing all of the work. You're holding it, but you can just literally press it in like this. This is why I say to get tennis balls, because you could just put 2 tennis balls together in a sock and then roll your forearm on them, obviously using a table, not floating, because that's not going to do anything. But you know, if you have a ball, then you can use the ball on the neck. So you're not using your grip in your hand, you're just literally pressing the ball into the skin. So you're still getting a little bit of movement through using the ball. So there is really, the ball single doesn't really work on the arm. 2 together in a sock and rolling up and down on the forearm, absolute game changer. Or you can get a peanut ball when they're already joined together. Lo's got those on her website too, so I will leave that in the link below as well. So thank you for being here. I'm really, again, really excited. If you do want to connect with me and talk more, if you want to be one of my 6 women that I'm looking for to be a part of my little beta round test for my program, then please get in touch. I am so excited for you to be a part of the course, and I'm really excited to share more with the world about what I do. Thank you for being here. I am available if you want to chat, just reach out. And yeah, I look forward to sharing more with you. I hope you receive a beautiful day wherever you are in the world. Thank you.